successful. Proceed to dust-off zone for extraction. Sensors indicate friendly dropship has entered atmosphere. ETA dropship 1 minute. Shutdown sequence initiated.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for LLOD versus TIMP. Battle of not necessarily the heights and breadths that we saw with KDCM versus... Oh, they're already going. Alright. Not necessarily the heights and breadths that we saw with KDCM versus LGBT, but nonetheless, we have a different sort of action, a much purer and little less meta-defined. So should be some interesting mech choices and drop choices throughout this. But we're going to get straight into it. I have no desktop audio. That's not a good sign. And this is why we test things. Let's do this. So starting over here, they have selected the wrong map. I was about to say. Oh, this is why you don't trust the teams with the map necessarily. Let's see if we can find out anything interesting. Black Widow is a little bit interesting. Not a lot of jump shots over here for TIMP. See, this is more what I'm expecting. Assassins, quick draws. Definitely, probably a lot more the advantage over here. Crab, maybe an SL. Nope, 27B, so... These are full complement of assassins on this drop, if they don't change anything. A lot more of a mixed drop from TIMP, but could be a same drop both sides. Overheat. Overheat is much faster than more that. Jumping out into the wild expanse. Kill each other faster, damn it.
Clean up the survivors.
So, off to a flying start. I had no audio, and the match was in the wrong configuration despite everyone having stared at it for like 10 minutes. Good for everybody. I did check its first person mode, everything else was correct. I just thought because he just forgot to change it. How is this 95 and orange? How his head's open? Gonna sneak up on his teammate here. See if he can get some cheeky damage. Commit some few war crimes. Battle Hacker is about to go down. Jumping onto so many accounts, he's determined to win the 1v3 here.
We can't lose any more soldiers.
But Transcat Girl officially blows up and ends the match before 3 assassins can battle it out to decide who is the king of the assassin clan. Would be a much more interesting game. But so going back into this, hopefully we won't spend too much time here sorting this out. Hopefully they'll just re-ready and we can go back straight into the action. I'm casting solo and I am having the teams help me with the lobby, so do not blame me for the lobby settings. I plead the 5th or the 3rd. I don't know. Could be a other constitutional amendment that I can claim, but considering I think this is Australians versus Californians, probably not going to apply to either of them. There we go. Turkey Shoot is going to have to be kicked and re-invited. Not my job. There he is. Okay. Both sides should still stack up. Let's just re-ready and relaunch this. Re-ready and relaunch this. There we go. I always feel like LLOD has just oodles of players that have other accounts, and like this is because I see Battle Hacker a lot, but I think he has another account. So many accounts also has another account. Big Salami is Beef's alt. But neither here nor there. So, back into the action, everybody re-readied in their same mechs. We know about what to expect. And tab, come on, help me out there. There we go. Urban Mech Osiris Crab, lots of MPLs. Warhammer 6R has Gauss rifles. No huge surprises in terms of what the mechs are carrying.
Coming in.
Maybe some interesting
Capture and
choices
hold
on the
the
mech
resource
lists
point.
themselves.
Stop any hostiles that get in your way.
Crab not having jump jets and already looking like that's going to be a liability there as he tries to get over the ridge. Assassins, Vulcans, and the Quick Draw. Quick Draw with the MRMs is going to have a lot of trouble hitting lighter, thinner legs. It needs big, chunky assault legs to really lay into them properly. Splitting out here a little bit. The Blackjack 1X has pure laser vomit. Kind of an interesting choice. But much as we've expected from every comp scene in all of history, Kappa's being left to the wolves and they're fighting over Epsilon. Toddlers in a mosh pit of taking a fairly commanding position in the ridge line should be able to force LLOD into them quite a bit. No one is going to be dancing around Cap, and it looks like LLOD is fully willing to lay into him. Coming in around the left side, the Assassins are going to get some quick shots on the Warhammer early, going down to 67%. And falling back into his team, Urban Mech and the Assassin a little slow to react. They're not really getting stuck in and sharing the armor. The Warhammer is going to go down, and there's not really a compromise on the other side. This Quick Draw is the focus fire target, but he's only at 63%. Very, very rough going early on for LLOD, and they got to pull it back now. Turkey Shoot and Battle Hacker have got to start sharing armor and giving them a less concentrated target. The brawl has gotten very, very messy. Big Salami down to 33% and holding on. Blackjack finally goes down. Quick Draw is still alive. One side torso remaining. Finally goes down. Light engines for IS. But he probably bought his team enough time just with the sheer amount of damage he took there. The Crab and most of the other mechs here. The Assassin is overheated. That's not a great start. Crab does finally go down. Assassin's at 55%. Focus fire just not there for toddlers in a mosh pit. Cyrus is going to play some cheeky cap games, but has no real options with 7 minutes on the clock and 5 mechs left alive. Almost none of which he can outrun. Gonna be very slow and torturous as the Osiris is hunted down by seemingly everybody. Nobody actually bothered to go cap the Epsilon point. They decapped it and are all chasing him for the kill. So someone cue the Betty Hill music, because this is gonna get real rough here. Cyrus dipping, dodging, ducking. Does seem to have the speed advantage, at least straight line over everybody. Is going to go for Kappa.
Kappa is under enemy control.
Will be too little too late. I do not know what's going on with me, but I cannot seem to stop yawning. It's been a long week, but I did get plenty of sleep today. He is finally going to get shown up here. Might be able to take out somebody, but no, there goes one leg. Most damaged players all the way in the back.
We've gathered enough resources.
He was set to go.
Will provide us huge tactical benefits.
Do cap modes. Oh, I can't click on the mech after. So, very odd. A lot of people shooting torsos there. Probably not the best of expenses. Warhammer 6R really becoming the early focus fire target, not getting a lot of support. Quick Draw was also the early focus fire target. Also didn't get a lot of support, but was able to stay alive till he was down to somewhere on the run with like 23%. Very, very, very brutal matching. Very high carrying potential from these 40 tonners, so definitely proving they're the better asset to the team here, at least for LLOD's side. Will be interesting to see if TIMP brings the same drop deck for the other side. They do have they only used one of every mech, so they can bring the exact same thing. Don't know if that was the original plan, but we've seen generally a lot more stacking on the other side. Teams have already been swapped around. Not expecting to see anything too exciting on the early side of things. Maybe somebody forgets to stack Bravo and be a little farther from the action, but even then, speed of these mechs is not going to matter all that much. Going into this, we can jump over to the tournament page as we're waiting, see some of the results that have shown up as the matches from this week have passed on. 5-0s from Black Omen and First Jaguar Guards beating up a 228, but the hierarchy at the top has been long since established in comp. It's kind of why nobody casts those matches. They're generally very decisive, for lack of a better term. Did see a fair bit of action from the lower sides. The only other 5-0 was Comstar 5-0ing Aces Wild, but when Xenoferret was upset by Sky Rangers of Terra, did see Level's Gang of Bastard Teammates pull one off KDCM. That game is apparently up on YouTube already. And Ghost of Nox did drop one to Pi when they got a little too cute on Stellar City earlier. So, going right back into the action, seems we don't need to change all that much, or if they do have a plan already set. A few players have been swapped out. But we are right back into it with the many exciting features of Crab Commando, Vulcan Quick Draw. So very similar deck that they had last time from LLOD, and very different deck. Roughneck 3A, Urban Mech, Bushwhacker
Capture and hold the
from
resource
TIMP.
point.
So
Stop any hostiles
not
that get in your
necessarily saving anything. Hunchback is a full laser deck. Oh, this is a lot of HP over here. Bushwhacker, SRMs, rotaries. So, and I'm going to assume the Roughneck is lasers.
Zeta is controlled by the enemy.
So, a lot of HP for TIMP here. They could overwhelm anything LLOD throws at them with even moderately good shooting, just because they've got so much more durability. The only really squishy mech over there is that Hunchback 4P. Kind of an interesting choice there, but does fit. Bushwhacker is going to struggle to get his DPS down, but if he's able to, he can absolutely shred through some of these bigger targets. Especially Big Salami and that quick draw would be a good focus fire target. Getting into it, Bowel Hacker takes a lot of the early heat, having dived in solo. Turkey Shoot going to follow him in, takes him down to 75%. No real focus fire target going down in TIMP as everyone stays above 90%. Mirror digits going fairly low with the Commando getting an early SRM strike. That looked like to be a back shot almost. Did not follow what his percentage was. Hunchback being left behind as the tornado rotates. Looks like the high ground has been thoroughly claimed by LLOD, and Toddlers in a Mosh Pit seems content to let him have it. They're rotating again. So we are full in NASCAR here, and those two heavier mechs, or at least the slower ones, are going to be left behind as the Urban mechs and the Assassins rotate around. A lot of damage spread from Legion. They are 3 mechs probably in the one-shot range. Only 1 Vulcan very healthy. The surround is going down a TIMP. I wish somebody would drop a strike there, and now they finally have. Nobody has called it. The Roughneck's running into it. The Hunchback's backing into it. This could be catastrophic if any of these shells land, but none of them do. Now Big Salami's in a fight of his life. He's on 5 versus 1 as they fall back into the canyon. The HP pools are very close here as the match continues to swing. Quick Draw finally goes down. Vulcan will be the next focus fire target as he's all in here by his lonesome. Support coming in from 2 Arc on the high ground, but not very much as he bails to go and try and clean up the K9 that has legged a crab well outside the fight. 2v2 here as we go down. The Vulcans have managed to clean up much of the low ground here. Ismo has dropped the crab. This is still Toddler's Moshpit's game. Dovak's looking like he has practiced with those racks and getting a lot of easy damage down. Does 37%. Does die likely to a side torso explosion, but I did not check. Now at Assassin Irby. Irby is at 28, but if he can be left alone, he still has all of his weapons. Open CT, open legs, lots of overheat damage, but nobody's shooting the Urban Mech. They're too focused on trying to drop the Assassin. Turkey Shoot is overheating right now. Doesn't seem to be doing anything about it. Oh, that Urban Mech is so lucky to live through that. And Turkey Shoot is going to be a one-shot here. Cap is high, but not insurmountable, assuming everyone has a leg at the end of this. As long as Assassin 21 can drop this Vulcan. Finally, please? He's open in both side torsos and a leg. Shoot him literally anywhere. Finally, he does drop, and Theta will be capped. And we are going 1-1 into match 3. So, I may not have been awake at the start of this cast, but I'm awake now. That was hectic. Saw the crab fall off the hill. He got legged and taken out and soloed by the Irby. Commando dived a little bit too deep too early. Urban Mech got backshot. Roughneck was hard carrying for quite a while there. Crab 27 SL couldn't jump back out. Big Salami got surrounded. Hunchback 4P was probably not the greatest of choices to begin with, and Dovax did work in that bushwhack. But let's check on the damage screen here. But I expect it to be impressive. Those two Vulcans, did win the 2v4 that was up here. We had a lot of damage maxed in this corridor. But I would have liked to have seen 2ARC get it a little more stuck in a little earlier. He had very good shots from where he was, but he wasn't trying to make himself the focus fire, especially as he knew a lot of his team was getting beat up. So there was very few called targets. Everyone was kind of shooting at opportunities, and if you make yourself an opportunity, you can probably save the life of one of your teammates and get them out of there. Going to chase the assassin as we look at paint jobs, wait for the cap to settle down here. Oh, it looks like we got a little over a minute. Was anyone truly garish or truly impressive? I do like the commitment to the names from the toddlers in a mosh pit. They do usually have it on there somewhere other than these mechs. It's a nicely painted crab. I like the shade of blue. I think the Roughneck had it.
We have
the name on there somewhere. Oh, that's adorable. For that Urban Mech. That's the heavy machine gun variant too. Checking out the damage screen. Hard carry by that assassin. Very surprised he had that much ammo, but good on him for coming prepared. A little less. Transcat Girl got dropped fairly early on. Again, thought that might be a back shot. Commando dove a little bit too deep. Squishy IV4 got himself into a bad position. I'm sorry, Squishy IV4. Got like I'm recasting the old match. Big Salami got himself into a little bit of bad position. Would have liked to have seen him a little closer to his team. The bowl is generally a bad place to be just because you can't get out of it quickly or can't get out of it without dying. I thought the Bushwhacker did a little more. I must have saw most of that damage go down. Really should have tried to focus down some bigger targets. I'm not sure the rotaries are the best idea for smaller, skinnier legs. But if you can make it work, you could actually stack the 120 rocket launchers on a Bushwhacker and do something very dumb but very fun and just delete a mech. But they came in without a lot of jump jets, but they planned around that and held the high ground pretty consistently until they realized they didn't need it and dived the IV4. So, not punished. Never punished. Going into Frozen City Night Classic. The map with entirely too many names, and I make that joke, I feel, every time I'm on here, but nonetheless, it is still true. We hopefully will continue this rapid match. They've been pretty set up and pretty standard in terms of they've got at least an idea of what they want to do. So here's hoping this continues as we get set to go into this next match. So everybody in Twitch chat seems to be a part of one of these teams. So let's see some actual like proper cheering as we get into this next one and they get sorted in their lances. I'm expecting nothing less than significant brawl. Going into the map strat, we have seen the more focused teams, especially the shorter ranged ones, really hard commit across the dropship in Charlie 3. And we've seen many of the more experienced or entirely too engaged in meta a little over farther into Charlie 4, Bravo 4, trying to take a better line, either controlling Kappa, Theta, or Theta Epsilon. But this has never been anything other than a brawl map. No one should ever pretend like this is going to come down to caps or any sort of control decks. So, generally the only question for this drop is whether you bring, a couple assaults, a big heavy assault, or 2 80-tonners like a Victor or Charger, or you stack those mediums and you stack them high, get a bunch of 55-tonners and full commit to a Crab Rush with maybe some Dervish or Bushwhacker backup. But do have Team 1 locked and waiting on Team 2 here. The Charlie 5 Pocket's the only real significant landmark other than dropship that you can kind of take advantage of. We did see Jay talking about putting a Sleipnir back here, and that made all the difference in the game they had versus level. We've seen a couple PPC Pop-Tart snipers and definitely some interesting heavier plays that try and stay a little farther back into the buildings. But full Burrow Rush, it's never a bad idea. You may even go tunnel and do tunnel snakes. But we are locked, loaded, and ready to go. So let's switch back over to MWO. Alright. So this is the little divot I was talking about earlier. Like you can kind of stack somebody back here and they've got decent cover using this hill. Or you can play patty cake over the dropship with a whole bunch of jump jets and hope for the best. It may work, it may not, but it's usually going to be an interesting fight there. Going into the team list, as I
Command coming in. Capture and hold the
totally
resource
kill my
points.
scoreboard here.
Stop any hostiles that get in your way.
Warhammer, Commando, Archer, Champion, Shadowhawk, Thunderbolt. So, miniguns, mini heavy mechs, generally stacked accordingly. Very interesting eclectic mix. Looks like a lot of IS MPL brawl. Going over to Tyler's and Mosh Pit, they've decided they like champions and they like them a lot. They got a Grasshopper and an Onion backing those two up, but are playing this a little strangely by trying to go down into Theta. They are actually expecting this to be a cap game, and these two Vulcans could find an easy kill on the Commando. He is going to be supported by the Warhammer coming down, but he's still on his own, maybe sandwiched by this heavy group if he's not careful about getting out of there. Onion has... that looks like an AC-20 shot. So 2 LBX-10s, Grasshoppers, ERs, Heavy Gauss Rifle in ERs from the champion, and an Ultra 10 in ERs from the other one. This is going to be a little more of a trade game than I was really expecting. The Archer is trying to close in, but he doesn't have the support of a lot of his teammates. This could get very interesting as the Assassins and Vulcans are pinned down on the left-hand side, don't quite have the jump jets to get up here. Could be taken advantage of if they're not
Theta
too
is
careful.
controlled by the enemy.
Looks like one of them is going to take the safe way, and one of them is going to take the risky way and get away with it. Archer is pushed up pretty heavily here. The strike goes down and lands heavily on that onion. One champion down to 82%, so early trades are in favor of LLOD, I think, here. Not a whole lot happening on the far side, and many more critical mechs, a lot healthier on the red team. Another strike could be absolutely devastating as they wait for the cooldowns to drop off. Archer, being as close as he is going to get pinched pretty heavily as they wrap around the side. His MRM's not really... He didn't need to get that close, I don't think. But he is there now, and he may pay for it soon. Onions keep peaking up, down to 38%, getting absolutely pasted. Early strike could really hurt this team if they don't fall back. Onion could go down. Does look like they took the accuracy notes on that strike and will be too concentrated to get any lucky kills. Grasshopper going down is a pretty big loss in terms of overall DPS as the push finally comes in. Very beat up mechs leading from the front. Quite a questionable call that Shadowhawk probably should have followed some of these champions and 80+% mechs as they go in. Onion is still alive, having played very cagey since his early peaking days, but will finally go down to the Archer. Trans Catgirl doing what she can over on the right-hand side, taking a lot of damage as he's not peeking together with Dovax, who has fallen back to cool down. Archer finally fully committing to it. Will get the kill, but will get side torsoed from the Vulcans, but they are now fully surrounded. 3 caps, and this looks like it's definitely going in the favor of LLOD. Once again, the lighter mechs not quite getting the same timing in as the heavier dive push. Really would have liked to see a lot of more armor up to the front, but maybe a bit of miscommunication or unequal aggression, we'll call it that, from toddlers in a mosh pit. Doesn't look like they're going to get any more kills. Both these guys very hurt. Would definitely think that we need to see some more standardization as far as whether we're shooting torsos or legs, as that Vulcan is open everywhere but the head.
Resources. We've failed.
But nonetheless, that was a very fun match, some early strikes, and definitely a lot of good trading, especially from the Onion. Poking up, getting shot, falling back down, and making the match interesting, if nothing else. Top damage to the Thunderbolt. Very impressive out of him. Commando, not really going to be the all-star of this show, but Trans Catgirl, definitely the all-star of TIMP over here. Did get more or less free shots through most of that brawl, but the rest of the team not really being able to help out. The champions in particular being a sore spot. The Heavy Gauss did not get a kill, and the Ultra 10 did not get the damage necessarily needed out of those mechs. Particular note that Grasshopper getting... I don't know if he got hammered with MRMs or the Thunderbolt caught him with something. Gauss hammer maybe. But went down very early on in that exchange. Would have been very nice to have later on. But you don't. You got a shout out from underneath you, and that's the lot. So definitely some very good aggression playing and taking advantage of the advantage they did get with the early kill. So very big props to LLOD for that push. Let's see if Tim can bring it back. Going back into the map strat here as we get set up for match number 4, with LLOD having a 2-1 advantage for those of you just joining us. We are still on Frozen, and we are expecting brawls. I believe LLOD has had their full assessment of Assassins and Gosshammers, versus I don't believe that TIMP has actually used 3 or even 2 of any significant numbers of mechs. Definitely going to have a lot of other options. They did use 2 Vulcans there, and they did use 1 other Vulcan in Canyon Network, so they're out of Vulcans, but everything else is fair game. Could see some very interesting and certainly some heavier mechs, especially considering how much they've got with Fleas and Locusts and other fairly good light mechs. Have seen no Wolfhounds, and this is a very good Wolfhound map, especially if you're willing to leave the low ground alone. As we get set up here, Team 1 is locked, and we are waiting on Team 2. Once again, going back over to that tournament page, as I was trying to point out before, we've had a lot of very good matches for this week, so as the tournament goes on, the matches generally get closer and closer together, and we are seeing it certainly for this week. We've only had 1 5-0 outside, the top 4. And those guys have pretty well established their pecking order over fighting each other of the same tournament for ages. So, first JGX, not JGX, 228, not 228, and usually the bigger streamer team, which is taking the not Eon or Gorin Synergy title for this one. And I'm butchering that, but I'm butchering it intentionally because I was not around when they were good. Switching back over the MWO, and it looks like our teams are locked. We're just going to go straight into this next match. We're going to get this cast done in record time. Going into drop 4 30 minutes in. I don't want to be a walking tank. Somebody, while they're improving the game, maybe just spend some time updating and putting in better tips. Maybe funnier tips or lore tips. Those would be nice. That'd be some low-hanging fruit, PGI. All right, we have Roughnecks and Thunderbolts and another Warhammer. So, sticking with the stacks of heavy mechs. Looks almost like exactly what they brought last time.
Capture and hold the resource points. Stop any
Archer, Thunderbolt, Warhammer, Shadowhawk. Spider is new, but it's the only one of them. A King Crab being fully committed to the battle with double Ultra 20s, medium lasers, and rocket launchers. Now this is what we come down here to see. The Bushwhacker also is exceptionally slow doing the double LB build and being a proper escort for... Maybe he's trying to push the King Crab. Transcat Girl staying in the Vulcan. Maybe I'm wrong and they had another one, but I thought I counted 3. Down now. We'll see if they can test that after the match, or once again, I'm an idiot. But King Crab will get spotted as he goes over the ridge here, and they know they are in some trouble. If he can get into range, he's going to put an absolute pasting on some of these heavier mechs. Big Salami is going to be the first recipient, and Turkey Shoot is not going to be far behind him. So the question is, how will they react? They seem to be spreading out in a line to receive this, but the left side needs to be falling back quite a bit as the King Crab is now within 200 meters. Turkey Shoot, you are going to die if you stay there. Please bail. The Ultra, or the racks from the Champion, also not helping, but he is taking an absolute pasting for it. The Gosshammer and the side shots going in. Assassins doing a good job of corralling and side torsoing, I believe, that Thunderbolt, who just took a big shot right there. Open both sides, and the Champion does finally fall to the combined demonstrations of the Archer at close range and the Spider from the back. Lucille coming back to help out the Crab, who's now in a one-on-one fight with an Archer, and Archer is probably not going to be very happy with this outcome as he does fall. Crab is going to be able to turn around and do the same thing to the champion as he comes around the left side. The Turkey Shoot, who fought the Crab earlier, is thinking better of it, but Mirrid seems to be doing a lot of twisting and turning and not a lot of shooting at the very moment. Is finally able to get his claws into the Warhammer 6D, but doesn't have a lot of health left as the Crab finally does fall. Going to drop that CT, but that's only the second mech that Toddlers have faced, and Trent's Catgirl once again continuing to be an absolute menace in the Vulcan, getting a lot of good back shots, and there's not a lot of health over here from Legion. There's not a lot of health on Toddler's side either, but they've got smaller, faster mechs. Spider 5e is the only thing truly healthy on this field. Everything else could go down in one shot, as proven by the Warhammer and the Assassin both going down and getting this into a 3v3. Again, all of these mechs are absolutely battered, but they're still standing. The Shadowhawk is down to 34%. The Vulcan's down to 35%. Everybody's a one-shot. Just drop them. Big Salami could come in with a big carry here. Does finally drop 3 mechs and getting 4 for the Queen Sweep at the very end there. Spider 5e is an interesting choice. That's a dedicated cap mech on a map that does not see any real capping. But does prove not to be too much of a detriment. Would have spent 30 tons on... I mean, you could bring a K9 and just be an absolute wrecking ball, but... King Crab, how did you do? A very solid effort. 360, 372. He's not ever going to top damage, mostly because he's the biggest target in the field. But did certainly absorb a lot of aggro and get the lighter mechs some good advantage. And I really would have liked to see more out of the champion, I think. Would have been very helpful. Props to Big Salami with the big finish. 582, 4 kills, definite cleanup, and the Shadowhawk 2K, 569, very respectable effort. So, it is currently 3-1 to LLOD for those just joining us. I mean, it's been 5-0 and 4-1, but there have been very good matches. We don't have too many 3-2s yet. If you watched, I think earlier, somebody was streaming earlier. What was streamed? GNX versus... Should not be trying to look this up while I'm casting. GNX played Pi, and Pi didn't manage to take a drop off them, so... there were 1, 2, 3, 4 3-2s last week, and I mean, there will likely be 3 or 4 this week as well. So that's kind of the nature of the thing. Like there's usually 2 or 3 3-2s every week, and as the teams get closer and closer together, the matches get better and better. Because I don't really want to see JGX go stomp some middling team who has no business being the same division as them. I want to see, Barrow Sprawlers try and take on Templars or Sky Rangers of Terra and have a much, much better time. And much better time involving matches like this. I mean, LLOD versus TIMP is not necessarily going to be the best of the best, but this is far, far more entertaining and far more fun. Because they're not going to bring King Crabs to Frozen City, but King Crabs to Frozen City is really fun, especially when they bring rocket launchers. I should ask them later if they got any damage off. So, do have a Marauder fan in here. don't think we'll see too many marauders. You need lots of heavy mechs. It's usually been 300 tonners and 90 tonner, and then 2 cap out mechs. Would expect to see lots of annihilators. Apparently, TIMP is favoring king crabs. We could see if they. I want to see somebody bring an Atlas. That's what I want to see. I want to see like a proper LB MRM Sandblaster Atlas. We can live in hope. Doggo is making many I need to go out noises, and I hope you can't hear them. But he is ready for his evening walk, which isn't supposed to be in 20 minutes. But I guess it's a little much to expect the dog to be able to tell time. Should give him like a bell or something. Go full Pavlov on this. Alright, Solaris City. Which gets really creepy if you go inside any of these buildings. Really creepy. Always feel like I'm in the first Matrix movie. Crash Warrior Online. Alright, so we'll wait 2 minutes. We do see an Atlas. This is why I like these low tier games.
Stop any hostiles that get in your way.
What do you have on you? 70. AC-20 MRMs. LB's from the Annihilator. Stalker's got 2 MRM 40s, 5 ER small lasers, and 2 rocket launcher 20s. Once again, picking that Shadowhawk, so they really got a comfort pick there with LBs and SRMs. Thunderbolt, good laser bomb. Good use of the hero mech, I think. Only 1 cap mech from LLOD. And 0 cap mechs from Toddlers in a Mosh Pit. They are full send. I don't care what you think. Boom Catapult. AC-20 Victor. AC-20 Victor. Okay. They have decided they want 1 weapon and they want all they can have of it. What is the Bushwhacker? This is a true meme drop. So between those 6 mechs, they've got 3, 6, 9, 11, 13. They have 15 AC-20s and nothing else. Woe to whatever stands in front of this team. God bless you. Alright, Victors, Catapults, all with AC-20s. Going up against a mixed team with a lot of sandblasting. Annihilators, LBs, Shadowhawk is SRMs, Stalkers, MRMs, Atlases, a little bit of both. And this is going to get really messy. A lot is going to be riding on Thornhold in this commando. He's got to apply a lot of cap pressure, and if he can hold out and his team can hold from being engaged upon, this could get very, very interesting. That said, I do not think Toddlers and Mosh Pits are going to oblige. I think this is going to be a full send team. A little bit more spread out than I would expect. Definitely not going straight to Theta. They're going to play it at an angle and go in from Kappa. Maybe look for an early kill. Hard to say. Commando has not seen anything yet, and he looks like he's going to be very comfortable getting a full cap. So,
resource point Theta is ours.
They creep along. Those AC-20s are very heavy and they don't have a ton of engine power. They do see that Cap has been fully capped and are waiting on the last Victor as they get into their mighty, mighty Death Ball. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers here. Alright. Big guns never tire, but they are going to find very little at Kappa. LLOD has decided to set up in the standard, we're going to stack everybody into Theta and wait for close quarters. The Stalker could be a little interesting with his long-range vision down these corridors. I don't think he spotted anything, or at least nothing that would concern them. Else they might be piling out of Theta here, but doesn't seem like they're showing any real interest in doing that. Shadowhawk is still looking.
We have
Again,
gained
hasn't
Epsilon.
seen anything yet. Might have caught one glimpse of that Victor. But here they come. They have capped Theta and are going to keep... get back. There you go. You still didn't cap it. Oh, this Victor's going to kill me. Alright, whatever. Leave it. Should have been the Bushwhacker shop in the first place, but whatever. Catapults are moving in aggressively, and they have been spotted. A bunch of early strikes going down. Stalker is peppering them with some long-range MRM fire, and this is about to get real nasty real fast, boys. AC-20 is coming to town and is load ready. They're going to push this choke point, and there is nothing that will stop them. Here we go. I have 15 AC-20s, and they are all very happy to meet you. Victor is all with 3 AC-20s. Catapult's with 2. Bushwhacker with 2. And this is going to get mean. He's waiting on the rest of his team, and here we go. Let there be full send. Join Ismo. Commando getting back shots. No one cares. It's just a commando. But the Stalker is going to pay the first price. Myriad has already been halved and did do a lot of damage to the Atlas. And the Annihilator is going to be the second choice. A little bit clumped up. It's kind of getting stacked on top of each other. But they need to keep swallowing through. Get the Annihilator down. You have AC-20s out the ass. Punish them. Punish those big mechs. First goes down the Annihilator, then the Victor shortly follows. Going to be very messy with this brawl, but the bigger guns at the closer range really going to start paying their dividends here. The Atlas is overheated, as has the Stalker, who's about to get side torsoed. This is all falling apart, though, as the better DPS of the MRMs have absolutely shredded TIMP as they've come in. Commando has gotten back shots and brought down the Bushwhacker with the help of the Shadowhawk. And all hope is now lost. Transcat Girl, once again, having to hard carry from the back. But she is now 1 versus 5, and this will be a 4-1 to load. I love the idea, but this has not ended well.
This triumph will provide us huge tactical
15
benefit.
AC-20s, though. I still got to give a round of applause for at least commitment to the meme, if nothing else. Going over to the damage screen, 757 from an Atlas. That's heartening. The Annihilator only did 239, so you heard it here first. Atlas, Chad Mech versus the Virgin Annihilator. Going into TIMP, Cat Girl once again leading the damage table. Definitely get an asset to our team this week, but not really the same. Myriad Digits was actually the first one in and did still a substantial amount of damage. Bushwhacker got jumped on in the back. Really would have liked to have seen the early guys rush to the buildings and then the rest of them rush around the buildings, so they didn't have the traffic jam they did with people trying to back up. Definitely blocked a lot of shots, but I still fully approve. Props to the Shadowhawk there for the 3 kills. Definitely cleaning up what the Stalker and Atlas left. 15 AC-20s. I approve, and this has been a very entertaining match. So, who cares if it was 4-1? Powerful, powerful memes. Well, I don't have any interviews planned, and I don't have anything after this, but that was a very, very enjoyable way to spend 55 minutes. And hopefully that we get some games casted tomorrow. I don't see anything on the schedule yet, but maybe you could poke some sharp people with sticks and see what happens. Anyway, this is FestFox signing off. Was a lot of fun. Catch you later.